Everyone, back here again with another Clash Royale video. This time we're going to be discussing some balance changes that are coming up on the 29th of February. So we're going to go ahead and here and we're going to hop in this README and we're going to take a look at what's coming out. So they're saying in this batch of balance changes we're fine-tuning a couple of cards ready for global launch and making some combat mechanic improvements. This, I think, is pretty important because if you notice in a few videos before, I've deployed stuff to either distract or for them to just go ahead and attack that instead of my towers. They are going to directly address that with this little balance change. The first thing they talk about, though, is Zap. It now stuns targets for 1 second and damage is reduced by 6%. Zap has lacked a purpose of its own that differentiated from arrows or other damage spells. Given it a brief stun effect, it should make it quite an interesting choice. I agree with this because when you look at the specs versus arrows, arrows has a larger area and does more damage. Costs one more mana, elixir. So obviously that's the one you're going to go with. But this though, giving it a stun, that's going to change things quite a bit. I think it's going to change things for the greater good of Zap being able to see more and play. But will people be inclined to use that? I mean, the stun sounds great and all, but what deck would you build it into to where it could actually work properly for you? I would like to see some really crazy decks though with that. I mean, Zap with another spell. I mean, you could stun them, drop something on it, and boom, you just annihilated a full-on push, maybe from like a spawners deck, so to speak, maybe something like that. So I think it's great. I think it's gonna change the mechanics a little bit for how people play their troops, knowing that if a person has Zap, they may have to counter it or something. I don't know. We'll see how it works out though. The next thing is Giant Skeleton, and his hit points are increased by 11%, and the bomb timer increased to 3 seconds from 1 second. So if you haven't seen a Giant Skeleton yet or played against one, the bomb it drops when it dies, it almost instantly explodes. I mean, that 1 second really doesn't seem like 1 second. It almost seems like, as soon as it drops, boom. And so that makes it when you say you drop some Barbarians and Spirit Goblins to counter the Giant Skeleton, you may be you're going to lose all those troops. Now, you may have a chance to save some of those troops, so you might not lose all the elixir you spent there to stop that Giant Skeleton. But with this change, they're going to make it more easy for a Giant Skeleton to get to a tower to drop that bomb. And if that happens, as we've seen in the previous video where we spectated a game with Molt, where Giant Skeleton gets to his King Tower and did 1,200, 1,400 damage to it. I mean, that's insane amount of damage from a unit, right? So he gets there. Giant Skeleton doesn't have to touch the tower. He can just get near it, drop the bomb, boom. That's a lot of damage. And next thing we're going to look at is the Tesla hit points decreased by 5%. Now, a small hit point reduction will bring the Tesla more in line with their overall offense over defense. So you'll see that a lot. They are going to push offense over defense, and that is why they nerfed all spells. They did damage reduction to towers. So before that, you would see people playing defensively, just launching spells like, just launching those spells right at you, and nothing you can do about it. Now they changed that, and I think the change with the Tesla is going to be for the greater good. Because think about this: when you drop that Tesla tower, you can't damage it because it's underground. And if it pops up, it has a lot of hit points. So it takes a lot to get that Tesla tower down. And for 4 mana, I believe that's too strong. I believe it's too strong. So this is going to be a good effect, good change to affect the future. And Rage. Rage is one of the most underused cards, I think, in the game besides Zap. You don't see Rage used that much, and if you do, you see it getting countered a lot because if you got a lot of troops in there, you just fireball an arrow, and then they just wasted all that elixir they spent to use that Rage. And this is basically just changing the mechanic of Rage, how it works. So basically there's no effect that can be changed as being played and affecting your troops other than when they leave the Rage radius, they no longer hold that Rage effect. They're going to more quickly drop it off. So that's, I think, a great thing. And now this is going to be a huge, huge thing. Combat mechanics. Troops will be harder to distract. Now, if you notice in a lot of videos, a lot of people play cards, play buildings to distract troops that are coming in. Most specifically, Hog Rider, Prince, things that are going to do a lot of damage if you don't get them down quickly. The troops won't be pulled from the lane as easily as by buildings. Buildings will need to be positioned a bit closer. So this is going to change aspect, because mostly people place their buildings in the middle or further away from the tower they're defending in order to pull those troops away from it to give it a bonus effects from maybe getting damage from both towers, and if your king tower has been attacked, maybe that one too. So having to play it closer will make you more suspect to spells like freeze, fireball, um, rocket. So this I think will change the mechanics a lot. You might see rocket come back into more play if buildings have to be placed closer to towers to defend. So that's pretty cool. And troops won't target and move towards units that attack them from far away. The biggest culprit of this is the baby dragon. The baby dragon is just that, baby. It acts like a baby. Its attention gets pulled off. I mean, like you could like a minion from across the map could move toward the baby dragon. Like, oh, I'm gonna go get that minion. No, no, no. Why would it do that? It doesn't make sense. And you see a lot of higher end YouTubers and Clash players, specifically Molt, complain a lot about this. And there's that complaining with Molt, whatever. But he's it's pretty accurate. You play this high damage dealing AoE unit as a baby dragon, and it gets distracted very easily. Like, what? I don't understand why this is happening. Why isn't it attacking the closest thing to it, or the closest thing that's attacking it? So that's going to be a huge thing, though. I think that's going to help you get the most value for your cards when you play them. The last thing, I kind of thought this myself, but I never really think that they would change it, or if it was changed, maybe it would change less gold for more experience. Maybe, I don't know. But here, rare cards give 10 instead of 5. Now, that's a lot because rare cards cost a lot in the shop. Consistent, like if you buy a lot, they cost a lot. And rare cards should give more experience for the value they're giving away, and I agree with that. So I think this update, very small as far as what they're changing, will have a huge impact on the actual gameplay because of certain things like Zat not stunning, buildings not being able to distract troops more easily than they were in the past. So we'll see how that affects people. Maybe they'll change out their buildings for something else in lieu of a building because you can't use it as effectively as you could in the past. And I think the combat mechanics as far as troops being distracted, that's just something that needed to happen. It's going to happen sooner or later, so to see it happen, that's a great thing. So leave your comments below about maybe if you want to see some more updates as far as these type of balance changes, or if you want to know about them in the future, we can do videos more in depth, like before and after using before video of using a troop versus after it's affected, to see how much it actually is affected. And that would be a cool thing to do. So if you like this video, like it. If you want to get subscribed to check out more videos about Clash Royale, please do that. And if you need comment below about any information you want to know about Clash Royale, please do that as well. Thanks for watching. Peace!